Hey, good morning. 7:07, right here on the link. Let's head into the KUAM News Zoom room. Bernie Guinness, the deputy of DOA, Department of Administration, joins us for day 2 of the Emergency Rental Assistance. Is this 2.0? 3.0? 3.0, third round of assistance, and it actually kicked off yesterday on the Labor Day holiday. How was that, Bernie?
It went pretty all right. You know, we received 81 applications online, and then about 10 that were actually PDF'd and emailed to us. So that was good. And then we also, taking a look at the numbers, there's about, because the intent for the cycle 3 was really to focus on adding additional services like the internet services, right? That was kind of like a highlight. So out of those online applications, there's about 70 that checked the box that they were wanting to receive the assistance for the internet. So that's a good thing. So we're just really trying to push it, trying to get the word out that there's these additional services. So cycle 3 really is about the internet, and then it could be for it could also be for installation, putting in folks that don't have internet services. If they wanted to apply, we can go ahead and pay for those additional costs. So we had we've met with some of the commercial carriers and worked out some of the processes on how the payments would entail. But along with the cycle 3 services, we also will offer the utility rapid payments, meaning we can also pay for those who are continuing services with us. They can also receive payments like in a bulk payment, so that because really the intent for cycle 3 too is to speed up the process, right? Speed up this process in getting these folks their financial assistance. Along with that, we also added on some additional household expenses related expenses, such as the relocation costs if they're going to move to a new unit, security deposits, and then also we have encountered some folks who are currently staying in like hotels, right? So we are paying for those additional costs for there, and then if they are going to move to a new unit, if there's any kind of relocation costs, so we take a look at that as well. And then we've come across for folks who've moved to a different location, so they may have arrears in their other units, right? The other rental units. So we take a look at that. If they are qualified, then we go ahead and we'll assist in taking care of that payment as well.
Can you go over
go ahead.
The baseline eligibility for these programs?
What was that? The baseline?
Yeah, the eligibility. Is there like income?
It's still the same. Everything's still the same as like in cycle 1, 2, and 3. I mean, the first and second cycle. So of course they certainly have to meet the 3 eligibility criteria. That they still have to experience their household has to experience a reduction of income, right, based of COVID related. And then secondly, they have to demonstrate experiencing homelessness or housing instability, which meaning if they're in arrears. And then secondly, they have to meet the AMI median income level. So it still applies to the 3 eligibility criteria still applies to cycle 3.
Can you talk about the self-attestation?
Yeah, so self-attestation.
Boy, Bernie, that's a word that this is one of these pandemic words.
Yeah, and we've been using it. We've been using it quite on the onset of the program, but it was as a grantee, we were allowed on the onset to use self-attestation as a form to if a client or if a tenant didn't have their documentation immediately, then we could resort to a self-attestation. They would just attest that they are, if they don't have a DOE verification employment, then they can attest that they lost their job or they're making X amount of dollars or whatnot, right? But on the onset, we weren't really pushing for that. We wanted folks to provide us the documentation simply because, again, it is, like we keep emphasizing, these are federal funds and we want to do our due diligence in making sure that everything is, copacetic and it's correct. But with the Biden administration, there's a big push, certainly not only locally, but also stateside, to try to speed up the process And so they really emphasize in using self-attestation as a form to collect the data from to collect the data from the tenants. So we are certainly we are pushing for that as well. If they don't have, like I said, if they don't have their BOE immediately, or they don't have their billings, or they don't have their landlord information, then they can go ahead and attest to those particular documents that we are needing. However, it does say that even though we are receiving that self-attestation on the onset, they still need to provide some document, they still would have to provide their documentation, because the self-attestation is just to it's to speed up the process and to get approved, and then to get that payment to them. And then we go about and collect those other documents from them eventually.
Have you had any instances of fraud or what you guys feel was attempted fraud?
There are some, we have instances where some landlords, and we won't say it's fraud, it's just they're just trying to do, they're just being very cautious as well, where landlords, where they feel that they don't want to participate because they know that their tenant really should not be, we'll get calls saying, like, I don't think my tenant should participate in this because, they didn't lose their job, or they didn't, they weren't affected by COVID. Their incomes weren't affected by COVID. Yeah. So they don't want to sign their documentation, wow. Right? They don't want to complete. So, it's a catch-22. We are working with the client and just making sure too that, hey, you're signing this documentation, and if you sign it, and if you're falsifying something, and we go further into review, then you can, certainly there are ramifications. You may pay back, or again, there's some consequences that you may have to be faced with.
What?
Can you give us the numbers for how many people were helped with Era 1 and 2, and then how many were deemed ineligible? From last week,
we combined the numbers. We received over 3,000 for cycle 1 and 2. And then for eligibility, it was about 1,670. And then ineligible was 1,330. 1,330 was the ineligibility. So again, as for today, for the cycle 3, since this, early this morning, we had the team take a look at the numbers. Again, as far as for cycle 3, we have about 85 that was received online, and 10 that was emailed to us. So about 90 is an additional applications that was received.
Mm-hmm. So 1,330 ineligible. What were some of the reasons why? That's a lot for 1 and 2.
Yeah. Again, we were also, there is, again, some of these folks, and they receive, it's usually like if they're not in arrears, right? That's something that we noticed. We were also competing with, when the PUA, competing with stimulus is coming out, right? So when these folks we noticed that when we eventually got to them and made calls to them, asking them, okay, turn in your documents, where are you at? Oftentimes they said, oh, we already paid our bills. We got our stimuluses, so we paid our utilities. So then it kind of booted them out, it kicked them out. So it was really, it was quite challenging, where we were trying to catch them in time. But if they made their payments with their stimuluses, then, good for them. But certainly there are, this program is for those who are needing those assistance if they are in arrears. But if they're not in arrears, then it takes them away from that.
So PUAs, there's no more PUA. Are you anticipating a lot of people, I guess, to start filing?
Yeah, we are certainly, once we're going to get with Department of Labor too, to kind of see if we can, there was a suggestion to just try to see if we can reach out to those individuals who were receiving PUA, also letting them know that if they are, again, really reaching out. It's all about our marketing, just letting the people know about the program, and trying to let them know that it's here. So if certainly those who are not going to be under PUA will, they more than likely will fall under that criteria, the 3 criteria.
Is this
they can apply.
Are you only able to file for this online?
Nope, we have, there's different options. Just like in the past, they can, do old school, they can come to the office, pick up the hard copy here at the office here at ITC, second floor, suite 219, or they can, the preferred path really is the online, simply because with everything happening, right, with the increase of numbers, but they can also PDF, there's a PDF format fillable if they want to download that or complete it through there and then email it to us. So there is different options for them, you know, the online, the PDF version, or actually come to the office and then to drop off the hard copy. So we're trying to make it accessible to everyone, as you know, so that they can go ahead and have the opportunity to apply.
Can you talk a little bit about because I had over the weekend some calls from people who they own their own home but are struggling with utilities, that kind of thing. Obviously because of working reduced hours or whatnot. There's a program in the works for those people who pay mortgage, right?
So yeah, fortunately, you know, happily we turned in our homeowners assistance fund plan to U.S. Treasury. It was last week or the week before. So right now it is in review. That plan is it's a $13.5 million what the funding amount would be. So the criteria with that is that they have to be a homeowner, right? And then secondly, which is a better thing, which is a good thing, is, you know, the area median income is at, for the renters, it's at 80%, but for this the homeowners assistance, it is at 150%. So that's a higher median income. So for example, like a family of one, the median income is $79,000. So that's a, you know, qualification is it's easier, right? Oh. And then lastly, the third qualifier for that eligibility would be that they have to have financial hardship based on COVID as of January 21st, 2020. So it's a good thing, you know, our plan submission was for utilities, you know, power, water, and solid waste, also for mortgage assistance, and then property taxes. So we're hoping and crossing our fingers to receive notice from U.S. Treasury, and then once we get that, then we can go ahead and start implementing that program and offering that assistance to the community.
Did you read or, I mean, determine there's a big need for that type of assistance? Yeah,
you know, we have a team that was, you know, certainly they were taking a look at some data. And we actually have the plan that we submitted to Treasury. It's on our website. So we took a look, and we worked with some of the financial institutions to take a look at what's the the delinquency and the counts on the delinquency. So then that allowed us to kind of determine also like what the threshold would be as far as what we're going to be offering the financial assistance to the homeowner. What we placed was 15,000 is, I believe it was 15,000 is what we indicated on our plan per household to receive. So, I mean, that's a really good thing. It's 13.5. It's not a lot, like as if, you know, with like the rental assistance, but certainly we wanted to make sure that there was enough to go around, and looking at the data from the institutions, we know that there certainly is a need for assistance.
All right. Bree?
Okay.
Oh, and how much is available for Cycle 3?
Cycle 3 right now, it's still Cycle 3. There's about 25 million is the okay. Yeah, I'm with okay.
Hi, Mr. Byrne.
Okay. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, Tom, feel free to jump on.
Yeah, I think he's going to hop on the other one. So as far as the ERA Phase 3, right now as of today, we've spent about 4.8 million. So we have about 25 million available for the funding for Cycle 3.
Okay. When's the deadline?
And again, it doesn't end until September of next year. So
okay.
Certainly there's a lot of time. But again, we just need to have people apply and then and get them qualified for that. We know that there was quite a, you know, Bree, I know you're talking about there was it seemed like the number for eligibilities was quite high. We will take a look again, and then certainly with the new requirements and self-attestations, the push for that, then if there are folks that are who are ineligible, they can certainly appeal, and then we can work with them to try to get them qualified.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thanks, Bernie.
Thank
Good
you.
luck getting that money out to the people who need it. Good job.
All righty. Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Okay.
see you.
Talk to you
Take care.
Bernie Guinness, Department of Administration Deputy Director with the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, round 3. 7:21. We're going to take a quick break. Lillian Posadas of the Guam Memorial Hospital is coming up. Plus, we're going to go through some of your Facebook Live comments coming up right after the break. It's Tuesday, September 7th. Back to school online. All right. Do you have a laptop?